Jayda InStitches show. In the depths of winter, I want two things. I want to be cozy and I want color. There's a whole lot of gray and white out there, but it doesn't mean that I have to be gray and white in here. So enter today's project. This is a pixie hood. It is cozy, it is cute, it ties at the chin. You can tuck it underneath the collar of your jacket, but best of all, it is a riot of color, and that is exactly what I need at this time of year. I made this pixie hood out of a Mandala Ombre in the colorway Happy by Lion Brand, and we'd like to thank Lion Brand Yarns for sponsoring today's video. Mandala Ombre is a size 4, medium weight, 100% acrylic yarn. There's 344 yards in a cake, and we use the waffle stitch for this hood. So you're probably going to use almost all of the cake, and whatever's left you could turn it into a little, I don't know, a hat dongle or something extra cute to sort of stick on either the ends of your ties or maybe the little peak of your cap. Bank on using the entire cake. This is a one skein project. I love Mandala, but I have to say, all the gorgeous colors and all the different colorways it comes in aside, it's the softness that gets me. This yarn is so soft, I may live in this hood until the end of the winter. Not only is it happy to look at, but it is super soft and cozy against my face. I really like it, and I bet you will too. So if you've got a need for a hood, or maybe you want to make something a little happy to perk up somebody in your life, definitely grab a ball of Mandala Ombre, your hook, and we'll stitch one of these sweet little hoods up together. If you'd like to pick up a copy of today's written pattern, it includes the pattern for today's hood, how to make it in various sizes, how to make it custom for any sized head, including maybe your pet's head or maybe your doll's head too. And there's some fun tips and tricks in there for adding, I don't know, a couple of little extra decorations. Maybe you want to put a little something on the peak or a little something on the end of your tassels. It's a fun little hood. It's a happy little project, and that is the name of the game. Cozy and happy. Because we're in the middle of the winter. So let's grab our hooks, grab our Mandala yarn, we'll head on over to the craft table, and we'll stitch up a pixie hood together. For today's pixie hood, I'm using Lion Brand Mandala Ombre in the colorway Happy. And isn't it happy? This is a size 4, medium weight, 100% acrylic yarn. It's lovely and soft. You need about 190 yards for a child's hood and maybe 200 yards for an adult hood, more or less depending on if you want to make it larger or smaller. You're going to want a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, a stitch marker might be handy, a measuring tape, very handy if you want to make this custom sized, and I'm using a 5mm hook, also known as an H or an 8. And once you've got all that together, we can get started. Today's pixie hood pattern is very flexible. I will be giving you specific stitch instructions for different sizes, but if you want to make it custom to fit yourself, grab your measuring tape and measure your head circumference. If you don't have a measuring tape, you can also use our general head sizing chart available on the tools page of our website, and we'll link directly to that in the description box down below. You can take a head circumference measurement by wrapping a measuring tape all the way around the head over the ears and crossing the ends at the forehead. Alternatively, because this is a hood, you can measure from the bottom of the chin up over the ear, over the top of the head, over the other side of the ear, and down to the other side of the chin. You'll find that measurement is surprisingly close to your head circumference measurement. Either measurement is fine, and if you need to make your hood wider or longer or deeper by the end of the tutorial, I'll explain how to do that. So a very flexible pattern. Grab your hook and yarn and let's go. We are going to use the waffle stitch, which requires a foundation chain number that is a multiple of 3 plus 2 chains on the end for turning. If you're making this for a child, chain 80, that's 80. If you're making this for an adult small or medium, chain 86. If you're making it for an adult large, chain 101. And for a custom measurement, you can make your foundation chain any number of chains that equals your measurement, so long as your foundation chain is a multiple of 3, then chain 2 extra on the end for turning. Once you've chained 80 for a child, 86 for an adult small medium, 101 for an adult large, or a custom number that is any multiple of 3 plus 2 extra chains, we are going to use the double crochet stitch for the entire first row. You're going to skip the first 3 chains from the hook and double crochet into the 4th chain. Those 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, count as a double crochet. At the end of every row, you will chain 3 and turn, and the chain 3 always counts as a double crochet. Double crochet in each chain all the way across. At the end of row 1, children's sizes will have 78 stitches, including the chain 3. Adult, small, medium will have 84 stitches, including the chain 3. Adult, large will have 99 stitches, including the chain 3. Or you will have a custom number that is your multiple of 3. And I will see you at the end of row 1. At the end of row 1, for children you should have 78 stitches, adult, small, medium, 84 stitches, adult, large, 99 stitches. Custom number would be a perfect multiple of 3. Remember, your stitch count includes the chain 3 at the beginning. We're going to chain 3 and turn. At the end of every row you chain 3 and turn. The chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so that means that this first stitch is always already in use. So you chain 3, it counts, that first stitch is in use. You always work into the next stitch first. This is the front double crochet or front post double crochet. You yarn over, insert your hook from the front to the back and then the back to the front, popping the post of the next stitch up on your hook. Pick up a loop around the post and then double crochet as normal. When you make a post stitch, remember you are not then using the top of the stitch. Here's the top of the stitch you just worked around. Don't use the top of that stitch. Double crochet instead into each of the next 2 stitches as normal. And here we go again. Here's the next stitch. We're going to work a front post double crochet around it. So we yarn over, pick the post up on our hook, pick up a loop, and double crochet as normal. If you're confused, flip it over. Make sure that you do not use the next stitch top because you actually worked around its base. So if you pull up on it, you see I used that base or that post, that's the top of the stitch. You skip that. Double crochet instead into each of the next 2 stitches. In this way we keep an even stitch count. So every single row will have the same stitch count. If you've got a child's hat on your hook, it's 78 stitches in every row, 84 stitches for adult, small, medium, 99 stitches for adult, large, or a custom number will always be a perfect multiple of 3. Remember, the chain 3 at the beginning of the row always counts. You work a front post double crochet into every 3rd stitch post. Remember to skip working the top of it, double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches as normal. So it's front post double crochet as normal. Front post double crochet as normal. And you're going to do this all the way across. If you get confused or lost, just pause and count. Make sure that you're, look, I missed 2 stitches here. So if something doesn't feel right, go back and check. This is the post stitch I worked, so I don't want to work the top of it, but I want to get the very next one. I don't want to go too far. Front post double crochet into each of the next 2. Once again. Pause. If you feel something looks off, and always check. From the back, it should look like open stitch, because that was the post worked. Regular double crochet, open stitch, because that was the post. Regular double crochet, open post or open stitch, regular, open, and so on. Either way, at the end of the row, you will still have the same number of stitches. And from row to row, the stitch count does not change. And I will leave you to work that all the way across. Take your time, relax, practice those lovely front post double crochet stitches. Don't pull too tightly. You don't want to make your tension too tight. But like everything else in crochet, after several stitches, it will become quite normal and comfortable feeling. As you get to the end of the row, you'll have 2 stitches left. That's your regular double crochet and the chain 3 that began the row. Front post double crochet around the second last stitch, and double crochet as normal into the top of the chain 3. You'll still have the same stitch count in this and every single row going forward. That again is 78 stitches for a child, 84 for a small, medium, adult, 99 for an adult large, or a perfect multiple of 3 if you're making a custom numbered hat. If you want to pause and take a quick measurement, lay your piece down flat, give it a bit of a stretch, grab your measuring tape and give it a measure. If you're making this for a child, it should be around 50 to 55 centimeters or 20 to 22 inches. For a woman or adult, small, medium, it should be approximately 55 to 60 centimeters or 22 to 24 inches. For an adult large, it should be 58 to 63 centimeters or 23 to 25 inches. And of course, if you're making it custom measurements, it should be approximately the circumference measurement of the head you're making it for. At the end of row 2, chain 3 and turn. The chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and now we're going to work the reverse of this pattern. So around into the stitch that was a front post double crochet, which was the second last stitch we did, we're going to double crochet as normal into that stitch. Into the 2 stitches that were regular double crochets, we're going to front post double crochet around them. So now it's regular double crochet, front post double crochet, front post double crochet. It's easier to see where you're working. The front post double crochet from the row before sits away from you. You regularly double crochet into the top of that. So just regular double crochet into the top of that. Then you've got the 2 double crochets that were regular from the previous row. You're going to work a front post double crochet around each of those. So now it's double crochet, front post double crochet, front post double crochet. If you get lost, just pause. It's really easy to see. This is the stitch. The front post double crochet from the previous row sits away from you. There's literally a line in front of it. You can double crochet as normal into that one, and you work a front post double crochet around the 2 double crochets that sort of sit closer to you. They are the 2 regular double crochets from the previous row. So same stitch count all the way across. We're just changing where we put our front post double crochet. So now it's double crochet and then front post double crochet and front post double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like a little waltz all the way across, and you will still have the same stitch count at the end of the row. I'll see you at the end of row 3. At the end of row 3, you're going to double crochet into the second last stitch and a regular double crochet into the top of the chain 3 turning. So no front posts around the chain 3, just a regular double crochet. You will, however, still have the same stitch count in every single row. So make sure you give it a quick count up and don't miss any of those stitches that might sit behind. You will continue to repeat rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3 until you have a nice tall piece. For children and adults, small, medium, you want to work this repeating pattern until you get to row 23. For adults large, you want to do a couple more rows. You're going to work this repeating pattern until row 25. Now you can repeat rows 2 and 3 as long as you want. You just need to remember that you have to end on an odd row, so that would be a row 3. And to give you some perspective, here's where your little face will show. So the depth or the height of this piece of fabric is the depth of your hood. It goes all the way, will cover from your front all the way to the back of your head. So you don't want it to be too short, but we can add a little extra along the front when we're doing the border. But you do want to try and get to the right height. So if your tension is a little tighter than mine, repeat rows 2 and 3 until the height of this piece for children or adult small, medium equals between 27.5 and 29 centimeters or 11 to 11.5 inches. So almost a foot tall. For adults large, you want to go 12.5 inches or 31 centimeters. So, or you can make it a little taller if you want, because the taller you make it, the deeper your hood will be. So just keep that in mind as you're crocheting. Either way, you want to repeat rows 2 and 3. The chain 3 turn, chain 3 counts as double crochet. On a row 2, the first thing you do is work a front post double crochet around that next stitch, and then double crochet normally into the 2 stitches that sit to the back. So remember, our row 2 is front post, regular double, regular double. Front post, regular double, regular double. And of course, now that we've established the pattern, it's really easy to see the standout stitches. So the stitch that sits close to you gets a front post double crochet. The stitches that sit away from you get regular double crochets. And that's all you need to know. Chain 3 turn at the end of the next row and repeat row 3. Remembering that row 3 ends a little differently. Row 3 ends with 2 regular double crochets. We do not bother to work a front post stitch around a chain 3. So if you need to see that again, just rewind the video and take a look at the end of row 3. But row 2, row 3, repeat that, and you will get this lovely waffle stitch. So that's the back of it, nice and cozy warm, and that's the front of it. You have these neatly recessed pieces. Makes for a nice warm, cozy hood. All right, I'm gonna let you guys crochet, repeating rows 2, 3, 2, 3. I will see you at the end of row 23. Once you get to row 23, if you're children or adult small medium, or to row 25 if you're adult large, you want to pause and measure the length, or the depth I should say, of your piece. And you're going for approximately 11 to 11.5 inches, or 27.5 to 29 centimeters for children, adult, small, medium. Remembering that this can be quite stretchy. So, you know, a little smaller than that is okay because of the amount of stretch that's in this. And for adult large, you're looking at around 12.5 inches or 31 centimeters. And if it's not tall enough, if you're way off, like by a couple of inches, let's say, then you just keep repeating the pattern. Do a row 2 and a row 3, measure again. Do a row 2 and a row 3, measure again. Remember, you always want to end this pattern on an odd row, a row 3. I went ahead and added a couple more rows. I've done up to 25 rows now, and that is definitely going to be deep enough for me. If you're unsure, you can just add a couple more rows, finish where I am. Remember, there is a way to make this a little deeper and a little longer if necessary, because this whole thing fits around our heads like this, if you'll recall my little mention at the beginning. So there is a way to add a little bit more to the end and to the front. It's a decorative border, and you can do as many border rows as you like. Okay, so as long as you've got a piece that's as wide as you need it to be, we can move on. At the end of your last odd row, you're going to chain 1 and turn, so that most importantly, you're looking at the right side of the fabric. This is the right side, it's the waffly side. You're going to bring your short ends together so that you're looking across the top of your last row, and we're going to slip stitch through each pair of stitches all the way back across. So you chain 1, turn, and that first little set of stitches can be a little tricky to get your hands on. So I'm just going to get my hook under one loop of the top of the chain 3 and a loop. So I want to use the loops of the stitches that are right against each other, not the whole stitch. So the back loop that's of the side closest to me and the front loop of the side furthest from me. And we're going to slip stitch a seam together. So the first set is probably the most difficult. Then you're going to pick up the back facing loop of the next side and the front facing loop of the side furthest from you. So what you're doing is you're grabbing the loops that are right next to each other and you're slip stitching through them. So not the whole stitch, just the loops that are right next to each other, and you're slip stitching. And this will not show through to the, we're going to sort of flip this whole thing right side out. So all you're going to do is just slip stitch, not too tightly, through those stitches, the pairs of stitches, just grabbing the loops that sit next to each other, not the whole stitch. Don't need this to be thick. And you're going to do that all the way across to seam up the back end of your hood. Once you've slip stitched through each set of stitches all the way across, you'll have created a very nice little neat seam all the way up the back end of your hat. And then you can work one last little slip stitch into the last set of stitches, remembering that you're actually slip stitching along the inside. This is sort of going to be the inside of your hood. And then you can fasten off and weave in your tails. What that does is give you your back seam. So there's your back seam. I've got that pretty ready pink running up the back now. And then this is the front. So that's the front opening of your hood. That's the back. And now, in order to make it longer if you want, you can add rows all the way along the bottom. In order to make it deeper, you can add border all the way around the edge. Now you can do this how I'm going to show you how to kind of keep going, starting in the corner, working all the way around the bottom and then up and over the top. And you can keep adding rows as you like to kind of make this deeper, longer. And then of course we're going to put in some built-in ties, so you can at least put it on and tie it up so that it keeps your head and your ears nice and snug. Now that the main part of our hood is done, we want to start to extend the bottom. So this can either be a couple of finishing rows, or you can make it quite a bit longer. This is the part of the hood that sits around your shoulder and kind of covers your neck. So you can just have this come to your chin, or you can have it come down quite a bit longer. You can continue to do these rows at the bottom for as long as you like, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to use the front post double crochet, but we're not going to be continuing the waffle stitch. We're going to be creating something of a ribbed stitch down here, and we're not worrying about the front edge yet. This is the part that goes around your face. We're going to do that last. So open up your hood so that you're looking at the inside. This is the inside of your hood. You can sort of see your seam there. We're going to join our yarn over here around the edge of row 1. And make sure you don't miss the edges. There's going to be, for every little waffle pocket, there's 2 row edges included. It's either going to be a chain 3 or a double crochet. And we're going to work 2 double crochet around each row edge all the way across, plus a double crochet in the edge of the seam. So we're going to grab our yarn. You can join with a double crochet if you're comfortable doing that, or you can do what I'm doing. Slip your hook in around that chain 3 at the edge, which is the first row. Join with a slip stitch, chain 3, and double crochet in the same place. If you're joining with a standing double crochet, just work another double crochet around that row edge before you continue. Either way, the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. We are now going to work 2 double crochet around each row edge all the way up to the seam, a double crochet in the edge of the seam, and then 2 double crochet around each row edge along the rest of the hat. So no matter how many rows you did in your full hood, you will have an odd number of double crochet at the end of this row, because you will have 2 for each row edge, but 1 in the edge of the seam. So that gives all of us an odd number, and an odd number is what we're going for. Don't miss any of your row edges. Make sure each row edge gets 2 double crochet worked around the edge stitch. I've got 2 double crochet around each row edge so far. I'm now at the seam. This is where the whole thing comes together in the back. I'm going to put 1 double crochet into the edge of that seam, so I'm working right through the seam edge. Just 1. That's what gives me an odd number. And now I'm back to working 2 double crochet around each row edge out the other side. So 2 double crochet around each row edge, making sure I don't miss any double crochets or chain 3s, because those are the stitches that sit at the edge of a row. And I will ensure that I have an odd number of double crochet when I get to the other corner. Once you've worked 2 double crochet in each row edge, 1 double crochet in the edge of the seam, and then 2 double crochet in each row edge all the way across the bottom edge of your hood, Now we can chain 3. We're not going to worry about the front facing edge yet, the one that frames your face. We're going to do that last. Chain 3 and turn. And now we're going to create a bit of a ribbed stitch using the front post double crochet. So once again, the chain 3 at the beginning of the row counts as a double crochet, which means that first stitch is accounted for. You can work a front post double crochet around the next stitch. And just like that foundation row of this front post double crochet work, remember that you don't want to use the stitch top that you just worked around. So if it helps, pull it away, look for the next stitch, and work into the next stitch as a regular double crochet. This sort of establishing row of front post double crochets needs your attention, but then after a while it's easy to see what you're doing. You're going to work a front post double crochet around every other stitch and a regular double crochet in between. So every other stitch gets a front post double crochet and then regular double crochets in between. So we're not changing the stitch count, which by the way isn't super important. What matters is that it's an odd number. You basically just, if you want to know what your stitch count was, you would count out the number of rows you did in your hat. So let's say you did 25 rows in your hood. Double that, that would be 50 stitches because you did 2 stitches per row edge. Double that again, that would be 100 plus 1 for your seam. So your number of rows times 2, 25 times 2 is 50, times 2 again because there's 2 sides, that's 100, plus 1 because that's your seam stitch, that would be 101. So that's how you figure out how many stitches you would have, but it's not super important so long as it's an odd number. The end of that second row will finish with a front post double crochet around your second last stitch and a double crochet in the top of the chain 3. Your stitch count hasn't changed, but now you've got a nice alternating ribbing effect worked all the way along the edge of your hood. If you want to keep going, this is how you do the third row. And then if you want to keep going past that, you will keep repeating rows 2 and 3 of this stitch, just like you did for the waffle stitch. So chain 3 and turn. And now we're going to engage something called the back post double crochet. This is basically the reverse of a front post double crochet, and it's what gives us a nice deep ridged effect. So if you look at your work, just like you did when you were doing the waffle stitch, you'll always have stitches that look like they're pushed to the back and stitches that look like they're pushed to the front. These were the regular double crochets in the last row, and the ones that are pushed to the back were the front post double crochets in the previous row. Now your first stitch, your chain 3, that's a regular double crochet. It counts as a regular double crochet. The last stitch of this row will also be a regular double crochet worked into the top of the chain 3. But when you get to a stitch that is pushed away from you, it was a front post double crochet in the previous row, you're going to work a back post double crochet around it instead. Easy peasy, yarn over, and you can turn the work towards you, or I find it easier to do that because it already sits out. You just want to bend it towards you and slip your hook underneath that post and then double crochet as normal. But you may see it described in a pattern as this. Insert hook from the back of your work in between the posts and then push it back out to the back. So from back to front and then front to back. And either way, you want to see the post of the stitch up on top of your hook, but if you're looking at your work from the front, your hook will be behind. And then double crochet as normal. This gives you a back post double crochet and it keeps that long ridge going. On the stitches that were regular double crochets in the previous row, the ones that look like they're sitting towards you, you're going to front post double crochet. So yarn over, and from the front, you pick the loop, the post up on your hook, double crochet as normal, and then repeat. So those stitches that are furthest away from you, you want to do a back post double crochet. I really find it easiest to just turn the work towards me, scoop that stitch up on my hook, and then double crochet as normal. The next one, it's a stitch that looks like it's close to me. It gets a front post double crochet. The act of alternating between the front and back post double crochets puts a nice bit of separation space in between your stitches, so it's pretty easy to see them. You kind of pull them apart. This one sits away, so that one gets a back post double crochet. Again, you can bring your hook in from the back and then push it out again. to get that post up on your hook. I just find it easier if I bend the whole thing towards me. This is a front post double crochet. So if the stitch sits towards me, it gets a front post double crochet. If it sits away from me, it gets a back post double crochet. I really like to bring it, just turn it towards me so I can slip my hook underneath that post nice and easy, and then double crochet as normal. And what you get is a nice long ridged effect. So no longer do you get that waffle look, you get a nice long ridged effect. And you get this by alternating between front post double crochet around the stitches that sit to the front and back post double crochet around the stitches that sit to the back. And that's what you do all the way across. Okay, to recap, we've finished the bottom edge, we've chained one, now we're going to turn. We are looking at the right side of our hood, we are looking at the bottom edge. We are going to half double crochet in the first stitch, so the chain one does not count as anything. We're going to half double crochet in each stitch all the way across the bottom edge of the hood. So we're using a half double crochet stitch. It's thick, it's warm, it's not as small as a single, it's not as tall as a double, and it's going to be a nice little finishing edge stitch to kind of finish off that little ridge, and it'll also look nice as we frame our face with it. Half double crochet in each stitch all the way across. I'll catch up with you at the other end. Once you've half double crocheted all the way across, you're at the other corner. We're going to make our first tie now. You can chain as many as you think you need in order to tie a little knot. We'll be slip stitching back all the way across the number of chains you make. I recommend chaining at least 50 and then deciding if you think that's enough. Depending on the thickness of the yarn you're using, slip stitches can make your stitches kind of thick, or your tie can become a little thicker. It doesn't matter how many chains you decide to use, just remember that you're slip stitching all the way back across, and I recommend writing down the number of chains that you do use just so you can make the other tie identical. I've chained 50. When you get to the end of your chain, no matter how many you want to use, skip the first chain from the hook and slip stitch into the next chain, and the next chain, and the next chain. We've made crocheted ties like this many times on the channel. You can, if you don't like the idea of crocheted ties, or you feel like you're running out of yarn, you can skip making the ties altogether and just wait at the corner of the hood, and we will continue after the ties together. And if you want to, you could sew in or weave in a ribbon along the bottom edge of your hood. That would make it look really whimsical, especially if you're making it for a small child. You can just weave the ribbon in and out through some of the bottom stitches of the hood. Or you could just tie ties to either corner. You could even use a little Velcro or a snap if you wanted. So tying up or making sure that this little hood fastens at the bottom of the chin is up to you, but if you just want to crochet the entire thing, crocheted ties are nice and easy, and they're pretty soft too. Once you've slip stitched in each chain all the way back, give it a little tug. That'll help even out any of those little chains that might look a little bumpy. And that's tie number one. If you used a custom number, just make sure you write it down so you can do the exact same thing on the other side. And now we're going to continue half double crocheting. So we're going to half double crochet into the edge of this half double crochet row. So I'm just going to get my hook right around that. You're going to have 3 rows of that ridge stitch. So there's 3 row edges that were double crochets. Half double crochet twice into each row edge. And you don't have to split the stitches, just work 2 half double crochet around each row edge. Nice and easy. That brings you up to your foundation chain row, and now you're looking at the bottom of all those double crochets from row 1. You're going to half double crochet in each foundation chain all the way around the front edge of your hood. Now if you paused and did some extra stitch work up and down here, you're just working into the top of those stitches all the way across. Either way, we're now working across the front edge of our hood. So just relax and half double crochet. I'll catch up with you at the other corner. When you get across to the other edge, you've worked a half double crochet in your last foundation, and now you're looking at those 3 ridge rows. Half double crochet twice in the edge of each of those rows. Half double crochet in the edge of the half double crochet row that began the whole thing. And now you're going to work your second tie. So it was 50 chains for me. If you used a different number, make sure you chain the same number and then slip stitch into the second chain from the hook and all the way back to the hood. Once you finish with the second tie, same thing, give it a little tug, and then you can join with a slip stitch to the first stitch you made in that final row. And there you've built in 2 ties, and you've got a nice row of half double crochet all the way around your little pixie hood. You can fasten off now and weave in that tail. Take a moment to make sure that you don't have any other tails sort of hanging around from the construction of your hood. And you're all ready to go out for a romp in the snow. And then of course it just ties up so neatly. Like I said in the video, you could skip making the ties if you didn't want to bother, and weave ribbon all the way through the bottom edge and tie it up at the neck with using a bit of ribbon. You could also just clasp it with like Velcro for a little kid, or like a couple of little snaps or something if you were making it for a little kid. It doesn't have to have ties. I like the ties. I think they look kind of cute. Also, I like being able to do the whole thing in one go, so my ties are built in to the hood. But you know, it's a pixie hood. Pixie hoods are kind of magical, so why not add a little extra whimsy to your hood? We hope you enjoyed making this pixie hood along with us, and thank you again to Lion Brand Yarns for sponsoring today's video. You can find lionbrand.com linked in the description box down below, and you can head over to their website, check out all the pretty colors that Mandala Ombre comes in. In fact, there's a lot of different versions of Mandala now, and I love them all, so make sure you check them all out. If you've got a happy project in mind, Mandala Ombre is probably the yarn for you. That's it. We'll see you soon here on the Jayda and Stitches show. Until then, stay safe, stay crafty, stay cozy and happy, and we'll see you soon. Bye guys.
Hi everyone, this is Mama in Stitches. Thank you for watching. Here are a few other videos you might enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can also click the like button and the bell. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.